Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I call the meeting to order. Carol, say the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we start out with any public comment.
Go ahead.
You got 3 minutes.
Yeah, oh, okay. I just wanna say thank you to Sarah Daly for pushing to get the leaves picked up. I think she deserves it. So truly appreciate it because I didn't know how I was gonna get all those leaves out to the sewer plant and I didn't wanna burn them, so thank you very much. My second question is, can we put the garbage, township garbage, thing back on the agenda as an open item to try to get a township-wide contract? Since Granger's gone up to $36 a month, I know I switched to a lower company and saved 50%. So I think, some of the nationals are getting really out of hand, and we might be able to leverage, the township as a whole to get a lower price for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Yeah.
Yeah. About the lighting district, did you find out the information? It came with the sewer. We had money left, and it was under Lester Stoll's leadership as our supervisor at that point. And it was also my understanding that money was raised and was money, and the people were given a choice of 3 items: water, light, and some roads, and they chose a lighting district, and it was to be a part of everything, and there was until later that the assessment started, but you want dates, that is far back as you want to go. Also, the park, and this, thank you, Sarah, but I think that was a little, way too little and way too late. Although she deserves the applause for taking the job. But that leads to the park. In a small town like this, we need to see it as a park, not an amphitheater. And if you didn't have the help to pick up leaves, who in the hell's going to take care of a terraced park? And the DDA, I think, needs to be more transparent. The board, all of you need to be more transparent. And the good old boy system in this community has just about sunk us. And you have grown into a community of the people that can afford it and pay more than what anybody else can pay. And what you're not seeing is, to the people that live here, like backlotters and the people that are not on the water, it's the backlotters and the people in this township that aren't around that pond out there. We're paying the big taxes. And every time another $500,000, $750,000, $1 million house goes up, we, the little people, the backlotters and everybody else, we get charged more taxes and we get less from the board. So really, there's a mindset that I don't understand, because I know all of you personally, most of you, grew up with some of you. And the good old boy society has got to come to a close in this township. And you have to understand, we don't work for you. We don't come in here and hand you our taxes and say, spend it any way you want. You work for us. And I don't think that's a real hard concept to understand. And
Your
the
time's
only
up,
thing,
Pat.
and I agreed with Bonnie, how many times have you heard, we need central garbage pickup?
Okay.
Our roads are shot, you know, and you got all of these containers out here, but what about the individuals? And I'm gonna tell you, I feel like a real stepsister, because I'm on a side road, and we get 0. And again, Sarah, I applaud you, but when is it our turn? The people up in the Grove, all the back
Your time's
lots.
up, Pat, sorry about that.
Oh, sure, sure, Kurt.
Anybody else? Barb?
I'm gonna stand up, I'm Barbara Leonard. I wanted to let you know that I've always taught my students feedback is the breakfast of champions. And as a board, you've been giving feedback in the meetings, and you've seen it on Facebook. But when I share a concern with the board, I usually ask why 3 times. Why don't I get a timely response? Why do I have to FOIA public information? And why does it take so long to get this public information? That's a red flag. If the public information is so disorganized, it can't be found. If the information can't be found, and you know it is no longer in the township hall, then why isn't the township board concerned that it's not in the township board? Oh wait, it is illegal to have this information in somebody's house. It is illegal. It's a red flag. When the board members don't understand what conflict of interest is, then they shouldn't vote until they have a firm understanding of what conflict of interest means. When a board member doesn't know the difference between an LLC and an LC, then they aren't smart enough to vote. We have poor business decisions. We have bids that are being made. I saw the bid on the building to be repaired on Knoll Park. There was no list of materials to be used. There was no information about how much was going to be used. It just said, replace the roof, replace the siding, the labor is going to cost this, and the board accepted it. I'm sorry, that's not how I do business. We shouldn't, as community members, should not accept it. But budget reports are very vague. We have the park. We should have, what is the park? How much we're getting? What are we spending? What is the money for our marijuana? And what are we spending it on? You know, if you follow the money. If you follow the money, let me give you something. Why am I upset? Head Start costs $8,000 per student. Each student brings $8,000 to the Head Start. That's what we pay. They pay for money. So you take 8,000 times 20 students, you're talking $160,000 is what Head Start is getting for that. Are we paying equal? No, we are not, and that is required by law. It has nothing to do about what I feel about Head Start. It has everything to do with poor business decisions. They get free electricity, free use of the kitchen, free use of the gym, free use of the playground, and we pay for their internet, we pay for their spaces around the building to be used. I figure paying each teacher $20,000, they're still making $80,000 a year on us. Woo. Do you care? I care, because it's not fair for fair.
Time up, Barb.
Okay, thank you. I'll continue later.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Okay. We'll move on. Need to approve the agenda, set agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and accept the consent agenda.
Motion by Nancy, second by Alicia to accept it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Before we accept this, we gotta add, we're gonna change to, we're gonna move Dave from our engineer department up after the reports.
And the sewer truck.
And then we gotta add the sewer truck on new business.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with those changes.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty, second by Nancy, to accept the consent agenda with those changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Puts us down to Montgomery County Buzz, Chris.
Yeah, the way the Mondays fell this month, we haven't had our first meeting for November yet, it's not till this coming Monday. But their last meeting in October, we reappointed 2 people to DHSS committee. We approved a rehire in the clerk's office at a level 2 rate, which is, the level she left at. She went to another job and didn't work out, and she's coming back. We had an update from Montgomery County Economic Alliance, we had an update from the Solid Waste Committee. We approved bids for roofs on pavilions at McCarthy Park. Approved a resolution pledging full faith and credit for that drain issue, so we're gonna pay the whole thing off at one time, our portion of it. Approved an MDLC grant, approved CMed administration agreement, and we heard our quarterly EMS report. That's all I have.
Anybody got any questions for the commissioner? Okay, thanks, Chris. Fire report, Mike.
For the month of October, we had 3 runs. We had 2 lift assists for EMS, and we had a PI accident which involved a car versus bus. Just as a heads up to everybody, stay off your phones if you're driving. People get distracted. We had a car that actually went up underneath of a bus, and we had to get the bus lifted up off the person in the car. So it was quite a task that took place, so. Yes. Yep. We had 1 business meeting, 1 training meeting, and a county fire chiefs meeting as well, so that's what we had. The other thing, Santa Claus, we're proposing coming to Crystal on December the 16th. So, anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Mike. That puts us down, DBW. Oh, no one's here for that. As you know, we're sucking up leaves. We've got Sharon's back. We're on a double. We started Tuesday with a second back from Sharon. I think we got it for 3 days before Sharon needs it back. We're making pretty good progress. We're not as far behind as everybody thinks we are. You go to Stanton or Carson, they're just as bad off. But other than that, that's for DPW. Duck Lake Improvement, Shirley?
The Duck Lake Board met in October and we approved a 5-year contract with PLM. To take care of the weeds both through herbicides and mechanical harvesting. Our next meeting is coming up January 8th at 7 p.m. here. And we're all set for the second. And
When's the next meeting, Shirley?
January 8th. The bottom of my note says, see Patty to reserve room.
Is it Shred? Thank you. Dave?
Yeah,
I'll talk about
a couple items. We're continuing to plan for this year's Winter Festival already. The date is February 17th. We're gonna need to reserve the gym and the use of the park for those days. Request that we do that. If anyone is interested in volunteering or helping with the Winter Fest, see Deb Woodard. The other thing we're updating, the DDA is updating our goals and objectives for this year. If you have any of the projects or things that you'd want us to consider, pass them along to me. The other thing we have for you tonight is we're requesting 3 appointments. We need to reappoint Deb Woodard to the board. We asked the board to do that. We also need to reappoint Jeremy Sheets to the board. And we're asking you to appoint Anna O'Rourke to the DDA board to replace Denise Schneider, who left us last year. So we're asking for those 3 appointments to be done by the board.
I'll make a motion that we fulfill the appointments of the DDA board.
I'll second.
Motion by Sarah, second by Nancy to put those 3 on the DDA board. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Hey, David, you asked at the DDA about some sewer hookup.
Right, at one time I'd asked,
Kevin does, you got misled there.
okay,
Some records did get burnt.
okay.
He told me the only records that didn't get burnt was what was in the office in the filing cabinet, but all the records above the office were burnt.
Okay, so he has the engineering.
Well, he's got some around Crystal, but he says,
I'll see Kevin.
Okay.
I'll look Kevin up. Thank you.
Did your meeting times change, David? I want to say that too.
the DDA meeting's gonna go to 9 o'clock instead of 8.
First Friday of the month, if anybody
Good
wants
catch,
to
David.
join me in the audience.
That's right. Yep. Going to 9 o'clock in the DDA room, which is over in the elementary section. Thanks.
I don't think our police officer's here. Okay, we'll move on down. Trustee report, Sarah.
In your packets, there is an email response from our drain commissioner, Todd Sattler, that confirms what we received from our assessor, that the property was conveyed to us. It looks like in early 2017, the transfer of all operations, maintenance, and budgeting was given to the township. And other than that, and leaves, that's where I'm at, policies later.
Okay. We'll move it up to Dave now.
Okay.
Dave Fisher from Wolverine, our prime professional for the fire project.
I just wanted to go over a few things. As you know, we had our pre-bid meeting with the contractors last week that was pretty well attended, and they raised a lot of good questions, and that's a very positive thing to show that what their level of interest is, and it's coming from a lot of them. So I'm hoping that is a good sign of, you know, the number of bids that we get and that they're competitive. So, but tomorrow I want to issue the final response to the request for information, which we publish. I take all of their questions and respond to them all in one document, post it on the website so that all the contractors, whether they ask the question or not, know what information has been put out there. And I just wanted to confirm with you folks what we settled on for some things that we were trying to determine is how we wanted to address it with the contractors. And to give them a little more time, I'd like to extend the bid date instead of a week from tomorrow to the Tuesday following, which would be November 21st, and we can still do it at 7 p.m. That'll be the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so we'll still get it in before the holidays, but if some guys are having heartburn about getting out of the woods or that time of year, but the biggest thing is I want them to have plenty, as much time as we can provide without delaying the project, to let them work this information into their bidding process. It is. And there's just a lot of layers on a project like this. It's not a typical for excavators, a road job or a basement. This is a lot that they have to pull together. So a few of those items we've settled on. I guess there's a couple locations that we can use locally for them to stockpile the spoils, and that's gonna save a lot of money in trucking, and it'll help them keep moving quicker. So that's understood. and I was told if you're gonna put the, pavilion sale out to bid,
We need to decide if we wanna do that, talk about that. If you wanna put the pavilion, demolition of the pavilion out for bids, we've had a lot of interest in it. And if we have somebody, if we bid it out, close bids, have somebody come in and remove it, then it saves us having excavators do it. So I guess I'd like to make a motion that we put it out for bids. And the thing we were talking about, Kurt and I talked about, maybe we could have bids due, sealed bids due by the 21st, the same day that we open the other bids, so we can open them all at once.
And that would facilitate them talking with
Right.
each other and making sure they're out of each other's way.
Do we have any plan if no one wants it? So I think we've got people that want
I
it
think
because
we
then
have.
it's
We've
right
had-
back to the contractors to dispose
We've
of
had
it.
3 or 4 people wanting it.
Okay, all right, okay.
Everybody wanted to say something, that was weird.
I just wanted to clarify for everybody, people would be paying us for
Right.
that. It's not a bid to tear it down, it's a bid for them to,
Right, yeah, right.
for
yeah.
themselves, yeah.
And they would be just taking, like Dave said, the contractors would be still responsible for the cement and the poles that are cemented in the ground, you know, so they'll probably just cut them off at ground level. So I guess, again, back to make my motion that we put the pavilion demolition out for closed bids due by 5 o'clock on the 21st.
Did you just say they're not taking the concrete out, right? The excavator?
Right.
the excavators will do that.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll second that, Pam.
Okay.
Motion by Pat, second by Sarah to put the pavilion up for sale, take some bids on it. By November 21st at 5, they gotta be in. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Another thing that we talked about with the contractors is, we had to include all the items, in the bids, based on what the state wants us to put out there to advertise. And that includes the trash bins, benches, and beach mats for wheelchairs. None of those are things that contractors typically worry about, any of the park fixtures. And there's been discussion in the past about potentially removing those items from the contract for people to have the opportunity to donate them to the township. You know, maybe if they wanted to do a memorial for somebody on a bench or something, or just have any opportunity to do that. And in the meantime, I'm going to have the contractors, just separate those out from their total bid, so that when we tell them that people are gonna contribute these items, we know how much to deduct from their price. So that's not built in with everything else, and they can't remove it. So that's something for future discussions for the community, if there's any interest in people contributing that. And another thing, because they've lost most of the fall with the delays for starting, talking about extending the substantial completion date and completion date. Originally, we had substantial completion for May 1st and final completion May 17th. And given the late start, that's gonna be very aggressive. My thought is, if we extend substantial completion to May 22nd, which is before Memorial Day weekend, then have final completion by June 21st, which is a couple weeks before 4th of July. So it can all be turned over with restoration complete and everything before that holiday. So the major equipment should be off before Memorial Day, but they'll still have things to do. Maybe some sidewalks here and there, or some restoration. But all the heavy lifting will be done before Memorial Day, and then they can have the next few weeks to clean things up for the next holiday being 4th of July.
You think that's long enough, huh?
Well, that time of year, they can get a lot more.
Depends on what I know earlier, where Labor Day, they were gonna start, and they had up till maybe December, depends on what the winter did.
Right.
And now we're gonna be lucky if we start by the end of the year. And what if it's a bad winter? And what if April
Right.
don't turn out the best? Weight restrictions don't come off till the middle of April or something.
Right, and that's where we're never sure.
Right.
When that is every construction season. So,
You don't think that's gonna hurt our bid, you know?
if you extend the dates, it'll help your bids.
Right.
And the reason for that is, right now, in the contract clause, they'll have liquidated damages if they go over these dates. And that can get expensive for them. So if they're looking at their construction calendar and knowing how much they can accomplish every week, and they know that their timeline is gonna put it past that, they're gonna build those liquidated damages that they think they might incur into their bid price. So basically, they're baking it in there, so when they pay you the liquidated damages, it's money you've already paid them, and they're just giving it back to you. So that just does nothing but inflate the prices that we're gonna get. So if we extend the construction calendar, even this extra, it's about 5 weeks, that's gonna mean a lot to them that time of year, because we will be in better weather. And when we look at liquidated damages, if there is bad weather that puts them off, they're allowed extensions when they get totally shut down from rain or anything like that. So, and that, by having the final completion, June 21st, hopefully those days, if they have to buffer them in, can still get accomplished before 4th of July weekend. I'm trying to keep a little wiggle room in there, and help the contractor's comfort zone as well. But I really would hate to see anything go past 4th of July. So I just need to know before I publish that if that's something you're willing to do.
I don't have a problem with sending it, I think it needs to be done. Need a motion for that?
Yeah, why don't we just do it so we got it?
So, a motion, to extend it to May 22nd, final on June 21st.
Second that.
Motion by Alicia, seconded by Patty to give them till end of June for the final. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. We need to act on the dirt.
And spoils, where we're gonna,
We've had people that's wanted the spoils, but we're thinking, the way this town is, everyone gets mad if we give it all to one person, and they'll say, well, you wanted some. So we made if the board agrees, talk to Kevin. I think we're gonna just, for the contract, you gotta know where they're gonna haul. We're gonna just dump it out by the, compost pile, and might have to rent a dozer to pile it up, then who wants it?
By the yard waste or by the leaf compost?
Leaf compost.
Okay, so.
Out in where corn's planted now.
But when they come and get it, they're responsible for
Loading
their
it.
own loading and
Yeah.
trucking.
And I guess, yeah.
How does that go with our insurance if we've got people dealing with equipment on township property?
Well, maybe that's why I don't drive my truck up there. I don't like when I drive
Would it be no different, you'd be out there throwing your leaves or anything, you got your
Yeah, but I
papers.
don't drive all the way back.
No, it ain't going way
Yeah,
back
we'll do
there.
that.
Okay.
It's gonna be out by the
That's what I
road.
asked.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I thought you meant up there.
So-
Sorry, sir.
need a motion on that?
sure.
A motion to have it taken out to this compost pile, and then piled up, and we might need a bulldozer.
Yeah,
If people want it, they're responsible for their own
hauling and
loading
loading.
and hauling. That was my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Nancy, second by Lisa to move all the dirt out by the compost pile. Might have to rent a dozer to pile it so it don't take up quite so much room, but all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
So those were the items that I needed to confirm with you folks. A lot of their other questions are technical things, as far as methods and materials, so you don't have to worry about any of that, that's what we're for. Did you folks have any questions of me as far as where things are at this point? As anything comes up that's new to me, I make sure I pass it on to you folks too, so.
Appreciate that.
So
keep
we'll
doing
have a
that.
special meeting on the 21st at 7 PM to open the bids.
Yes.
November 21st,
Yeah.
November 21st, Tuesday.
What was
Um,
the date?
November 21st,
So at that point, you will also be opening
the bid for the pavilion.
at 5. But you're not, you're just, the deadline is 5, you're gonna open them all.
Right, yeah. All right, oh, I guess I don't need to copy them, I was thinking I needed to copy. Sorry.
Seal.
Sorry, I was trying to plan ahead.
On those spoils, Kurt, is that for the residents or can commercial people use it?
I guess if they wanna haul it and load her up,
We don't,
10,000 yards is gonna be a lot of dirt to give away.
This is not gonna be clean.
we don't monitor if a commercial person's out there taking mulch, so I don't know why we would, I mean, we don't have the staff to monitor who's out there taking stuff.
Where are you gonna put it out there?
On the west side of the compost pile,
So that field?
it's part of that field.
Yeah.
Okay, is that done for you, Dave, or?
I guess that's what I needed to know today to get everything.
Keep moving.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Thanks for coming up, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't
Oh.
graduate.
Okay, that puts us down to correspondence.
Yeah.
Crystal Lions Club gave the fire department $500, DT public hearing. Consumers had a public hearing. Eagle, Kevin Waldron, the well. Another seawall, 1218 North Shore. Gratiot County Planning Commission. I'm safe. Barb Leonard on their ACAP foliar. Unfinished business. Policy, ethical code of conduct.
That was one that we had talked about, had the attorney's approval on, but we had a question regarding temporary absence from the township, and I checked with our attorney and said there's no MCL that allows for an even temporary location outside of the township. So that was okay.
Awesome. That was my only question, and I, make a motion
I'm gonna second that.
to accept this.
Motion by Sarah, seconded by Elise to accept it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'll do a roll call. Alicia?
Aye.
Pat, yes. Kurt?
Yeah.
Nancy? Yes.
Aye.
Sarah?
And if it is agreeable to everyone, I will scan this and get this on the website as well.
Let me fill in the blanks for you.
Okay, that moves us down to the cash handling policy.
Grant policy and did cash handling go to the attorney? I know the
Yes, I
grant-
haven't gotten back on the two, he hasn't gotten anything back to me on the two of those, but they did go to the attorney,
So we're still
Okay.
waiting there for
those.
attorney.
Township owned properties is the spreadsheet copy that you have in front of you, and that is, recommendation of MTA out of Township Focus. They are blank, there's a lot of information that we need to fill out within them. At the tops of the columns on the right, it will tell you what your choices are, many of them are yes, no. Managers of those properties, is it a public forum? What do we do with damages and property losses at each one? How do we enforce it? And what are the exceptions? So this is going to be a take-home homework. Yeah, and fill it out, and we'll discuss this one next month. Spending and procurement is also in your packet. And I think it's called something else, because it is just draft. Purchasing policy. Inspection of public records and organizational styles are the three up. And they were introduced at the last board meeting. Does anyone have anything to add? We were going to do. Okay.
Purchasing policy. So I understand you want to categorize them for what they are, but I wanna know how we handle that once those are categorized, and who decides who can spend what and when. Am I making any sense there?
Yeah, absolutely. So there need to be, who, exceptions, contracts.
And that would, under competitive purchases, it would define the process for competitive, what has to be done for competitive bid. That would be outlined here too.
And this isn't just me like writing them, this was a start, like I'm waiting for more information. Especially from the people who need to spend money in their office.
Right, okay, so the DPW needs to spend money, Pat needs to spend money, I need to spend money. You know, just on things like envelopes, paper,
Fire department.
fire department needs to, yes. And there are things that can't always be done with a small enough amount. That's what we need to determine, what is that small amount?
Yes, and that's what we determine,
Yeah.
not I make it up.
No, I realize that, yeah. So you want some more input on this? Could this be like the previous one, homework?
Absolutely. Mike?
Can I be involved in that, please?
Sure.
Yeah.
I have some concerns with timeliness and so on and so forth when it comes to that, if we start talking about competitive bids. And limitations on spending. If we have a fire truck goes down, I need it towed, I need something put on it, we need to have
So we
it
need to
done in a
make
timely
sure that-
manner, not wait till the next board.
Right, absolutely.
So there needs to be, a line for emergencies.
Yep.
Exceptions, yep.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll work on that.
Yeah.
And the same with inspection of records.
Did you say the same with inspection?
Yeah.
I read it real quick this afternoon when I got here, but I think it looks a lot like the FOIA policy I think I put in our package this time.
Well, it's straight from MTA, so yeah, probably does.
Okay.
I agree.
That moves us down then to internal control study.
Oh, we didn't talk about organizational styles yet.
Organization, sorry about that.
We talked about that at the last meeting. Basically, there are two ways. There's the commission model and there's the strong supervisor model. And my thought is, the more of us that know what's going on, the better checks we have on what is going on.
I agree.
So I would move that we make a policy that says this board is governed by the commission model.
I would second that.
And the only thing that, here's guys for discussion.
Motion by Sarah, second by Elish to go by the commission model.
And the only thing that caught my eye under that one was that last time will be given to consider the very important policy issues facing the township because you're involved in you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, rather than one or two people having the yes or no
Yes.
on things,
Yep.
absolutely.
So, sometimes you get caught in the weeds instead of.
Right, but we need to start utilizing email in a way where we
Right.
give information and do not discuss it. Just, if we're finding information, especially on the stuff that we're going off of our little sector, like Pat clerk stuff, here's clerk information. We're not gonna discuss it, but we all need to know it. DPW, we all need to know it, we don't need to discuss it.
So we're gonna work on a policy, so that was the motion to develop policy governing this.
To choose one of these, and I'll work on a policy of a commission model.
Right, okay, all right.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Internal control study, that's on the sewer.
No, that was.
Internal control study was Linda Peag, and I met with her the day after our last board meeting. And since then, she has taken a full-time gig in Ionia, so I'm guessing she probably doesn't have time to devote to us at this point.
Okay.
I think it's a good name to keep
Yeah.
out there.
Absolutely.
Future reference.
And we had a really great meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and her wishes were to be hired on as a part-time employee because she did not want to be an independent contractor. And then when I read Elizabeth's story of her being Ionia full-time, well, that kinda, yeah, we were her extra time.
Okay, it moves us down to the compactor. We did have somebody do some vandalism on it already.
I didn't even know it was here yet.
Well, the compactor ain't, when they poured the cement, they had to have the conduit brought out and buried. Somebody rolled her over.
There was a guy driver,
Uh,
guy driver, I told you.
oh, yeah. I think it had a little red paint on it. But we got it fixed already, cost us $150 fixed job.
When are the compactors?
I was gonna get to that.
Or we don't, we're still waiting even on consumers.
Consumers, could be run yet this week. I got an email from Michelle Kent today. If they haven't cut out that section of the decorative concrete, they will be doing that too. I do not know when the compactors will be installed. Of course, that has to come first. The three-phase, the electrician needs to finish, the compactors get here, and the electrician does his final. So I do have a solid waste meeting coming up yet this month. I'll know more then, so I'll know more next month at our board meeting then. Little word to what's gonna happen. The compactors have a small opening, maybe about like that, okay? We don't get to just take our bags and dump. We have to feed things in. If you've got a large, empty laundry container, you're gonna have to squash it. Some people may need help. And things may drop as you're trying to feed things in. There's been a suggestion from someone that has these, that feel free to pick it up if you drop something. That's kind of a joke if you think about that statement. So it will be a change, but we're trying to get what we don't have right now. There was a laundry basket out there, there's garbage being dumped out there, and Bonnie, that leads right back to what you said, and I appreciate that about the countywide. I think that's why we're getting more and more garbage in that, which ruins the whole thing. To even have recycle, so.
Are we gonna have to have any of the decorative sidewalk replaced once?
I'm sure they'll replace it, I don't know what they're gonna do. I will get back with my contacts and
And I was
see.
gonna say, maybe double check with, because Travis has the stamp, I think.
Does he?
Oh,
I
and
wonder
we
if
have
he has it.
stamps here. But
Okay.
I heard.
I will
he
ask
might
how
have
that's gonna be
his
done. I
own.
know they won't leave it exposed.
Right.
I wouldn't think. I'll find out about
But
that.
we need to make sure it's redone with decorative.
Okay, sure.
I
I know she was gonna be very careful on
Yeah.
who cut it, and how it was cut,
How
so.
it was done.
Okay, is that it?
Well, we'll still have to have a pole set, and by a pole, I mean probably a 4x4 to mount the camera. The openings will be facing the road, there will be a camera. So,
Okay.
I'm hoping that people behave. It'll be on film in the running.
Okay, that moves us all the way, we've already, project, we discuss the pavilion, disposal of spoils, completion date. Now I need, somebody to make a motion to handle the next E while I step down.
I'll make a motion to appoint Sarah to monitor the meeting.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty to have Sarah run that part of the meeting, second by Leash, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
And then I'm gonna do a motion to go into closed session.
Second, that's what you need.
Yep.
So we're going to closed session at 8:45.
Yep, 7:45.
Can I clarify what the reason is for the closed session?
I'm sorry?
The reason for the closed session, there has to be a reason given
Oh, attorney-client privilege.
for a written opinion. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Motion was made by Liz, seconded by Nancy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Something like that.
Oh, sure, we'll bring that right back.
We don't want to they'll never go, you know, here and there and there, so we like to have one local spot,
all the way out there, but this is. They don't give you money back. That's why Your belly's
Yeah, a couple rookies up there. I helped them out.
What's that?
I helped them out.
That's good.
Stand up with 4 loads out there. 50% there. Got another 2 loads now.
Another 2?
I gotta get a hold of Kevin. Have Kevin give me a call. On where he's dumping it. I found a place where you don't have to haul them all the way back.
Okay.
But they're supposed to leave for Colonel Point. And I think he's hauled some other stuff in some other place out there.
It's been hauling till the rain, been hauling from there on Bollinger Road.
That's where he was going originally when he started out there, but then I got him hooked up with that place. That worked out really good for him. It's right there on our way. But he's filling it up too quick.
Just let it hang, burn the rest of them.
We got too much wood down.
We got a fire department.
That's what they call it, they call themselves.
Because they're hard times, yeah, I have jobs, and everybody loves them, and everybody says, I haven't had nuisance. Well, and I'm a grandma, and I keep candies in my purse. Yeah, I've actually got a bigger bag that I took out because they're cinnamon discs. Come in the bag.
Alright, I have a motion to commence back into executive session.
Second.
Bush made the motion to come back into open session, Nancy seconded the motion, discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Open session 8:01. Thank you.
Okay. What's down to new business? Our DPW, we've lost some help. Last board meeting, I told you we had a young kid, but he went out to Wyoming. About 2 weeks ago, our head honcho, about the day they were gonna start sucking leaves up. His wife took a turn for the worse, and he took a day off, and I think it was Tuesday, he came in and turned his keys in. So that's when Sarah stepped up and started helping Mitch suck some leaves. So we need to, I would recommend we move Mitch up to the head of the DPW.
Full-time.
Full-time, and then decide what we wanna do for a part-time.
Okay, separate issues. Okay, I make a motion to promote Mitchell Wing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, to the head of our
Does he
DPW.
want it? Does he want the
Yes.
position?
Is he qualified?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart young man.
He did a good job all summer.
He's a nice guy.
Nice is one thing, but qualified is another.
Sarah says he backs the truck and the trailer really well.
And that's.
He is a very good worker.
Okay, let's,
He's driving.
Okay, sorry.
I'll second.
We got out of hand.
Okay, discussion. He is a very good worker. I have really enjoyed getting to know him and working with him. I always like working with crews everywhere. He is young though. And if we are talking about Department of Public Works, I think we need a skill set that we don't currently have. And I don't know if that needs to be fulfilled by a full-time person or a part-time person, or who needs to be the head of anything. He's full-time currently, right?
no.
He's not full-time?
Well, he's
He's
working.
working full-time, but he don't,
He's considered a temporary person, part-time.
Mike was our full-time, Mitch and, Keegan were part-time.
What, how many hours is he putting in a week?
Oh, he's putting 40 in now or more, depends on how many you work.
A month ago, what was he putting in?
Well, him and Keegan was probably putting their 40 hours in.
Typically, and this is the way it was in the past, Roger and whoever his assistant were, they worked throughout leaf season. Once leaf season was over, Roger would take his vacation the entire month of December, so that part-time person would continue working through the month of December. And then Roger comes back January 1st, then that person would be done, wouldn't have any work to do, unless, there was something unusual and they wanted to be called back, they would be off until spring project started again.
Once in a great while, if we had a bad snowstorm, Roger'd have to call one in to help when they had to start hauling the snow out of town,
I get that. Roger was his own, do-it-all kind of guy. And that's where I'm having the hitch of how much work do we actually have and what type of things do we need?
For right now, we've all discussed at one point in time or the other, this building needs a thorough cleaning. And when we get done, before snow hits, and then snow hopefully will not be a 40-hour job, he can start doing that.
And see, that's when Roger did a lot of his
Exactly,
waxing,
yes.
floors and extra cleaning.
Exactly, yeah. And whether or not we bring up, eventually there will have to be another person.
Well, in my opinion, there needs to be another personnel. I'm a 50-year-old woman. I don't wanna be doing the leaf pack all the time. I'm doing it because it's important to you guys.
So that's what's on the agenda for.
Hoping that volunteer would fill that in. If they don't, we'll go from there, Sarah. So I don't know what the volunteer portion of this is. Do we wanna do Mitch's separately, as I said?
Yeah.
And then, it's back to you as moderator.
Maybe before we pass, it, do we wanna move his wage up to what Mike was making in your motion, or?
I think,
It's the experience. I mean, is that, is he
I'd
making?
say for right now.
well, that's what I
Posted.
Nothing against
I don't
putting
think
Mitch up
it's
there.
designed
but
for the
man,
community.
This needs to be posted.
Thank you.
It's not public comment yet, please.
There definitely is a point though, and I think we need to know what we are looking for to be fulfilled, and it does need to be posted.
So could we just put him as like an intern until we can really get more discussion and?
Yeah.
I would
I would
totally
be all right
be
with
an
that.
interim.
Yeah, okay, we could, have him apply too,
Yeah.
see what happens.
I,
And for right now, leave him at his regular pay. Put him in the position, interim position. Post the position, make sure he knows he should apply.
Yeah.
you're changing your motion.
I think so.
We need to vote on that other one, or can we just change
I
it?
think we'll just change it.
Okay. So the new motion is post the position. Move Mitch as interim.
Okay.
and as a board, I think we need to come up with some very specific, like, job duties, what kind of
Yes.
maintenance, what things need to be fixed.
You could start with what you told me in office today.
Yes, absolutely, that's a great start.
So Nancy made it, Alicia seconded it.
Yeah.
Motion by Nancy, seconded by Elise, to keep Mitch where he is, but making head honcho for right now.
Interim.
Interim.
Same thing.
And post the position. All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
All opposed? Motion carried.
So posting it, let's talk about that.
Deadline or something?
What are we posting, specific jobs, what are we?
Same thing we posted when Roger was leaving.
Do we have that job description? Like the actual, do we have it in writing? So I can see it?
I'm not so sure I have the job description. I have what I think Roger put down that he did, so that people had an overview of that. Yeah, it should have a job description.
Duties. I mean, what are the duties gonna be? Is like-
The duties are
So we need to define those.
mowing grass,
Okay.
doing burials, weed whacking the cemetery, leaf suction, we keep doing it.
There's a lot of landscape.
Landscaping.
Cleaning the building,
Snow plowing.
snow plowing,
CDL.
He has a farming CDL.
that's endorsement.
Mechanical experience, maintenance experience,
I say maintenance is
Swimming.
clean driving record.
Because most of the mechanical, it's for that, radiator over there, we. Call mine.
Definitely gotta have, yeah, definitely gotta have a driver's license.
I just said clean driving record.
How long am I posted for? What do you want?
Well, we've got a special meeting going already, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna,
11/21?
I
Is
guess.
that enough time or not? That's quick.
You're gonna have to do, I don't know, I guess some of, Mitch is taking off in November.
Last week in November, Mitch is off.
He's off in November,
Is that just mean they're saying he's off, what?
taking vacation.
Okay.
He's going south on,
Next board meeting then?
That's what I was saying, so we can.
Order.
Okay, so
quiet down.
bids or applications due by the, like the Friday, do you want it Friday, prior to the board meeting, or do you want
Sure, that way we can look
a
at it.
couple of board
What's
members
good
to
for
meet
you?
with those people prior, so that they come to the board meeting in December and say, I'd like my hiring?
There you go.
Which two?
I would like all of us to interview them. I would like them to come to our board meeting after turning in a resume.
Perfect.
I am.
You're perfect.
Citizen on that?
Both until Friday.
Friday, this,
Friday board
did you
meeting.
say that this Mitch is gonna be gone in November?
And in November for a week's vacation.
So when they bring in their application, we would ask them to be available for a public meeting.
Yep.
And the only reason I'm saying this is maybe we don't want one on the 21st to get too lengthy if we're
Right,
gonna
no, that's
interview.
okay, I think the next board meeting would be about
Yeah.
when the actual December meeting happened.
You don't think that would be make the board meeting too long, too?
December one? The December one? I thought
Either or. I'm just thinking might
both
wanna
of them
do
would be.
a separate, because we already have, like, today we have such a lengthy agenda, and if you add on interviewing 8 people, or whatever.
I really hate having, quite frankly, that's just me.
I know,
I've been going on here too, I don't like having to interview anybody or have anybody be interviewed in a crowd.
No.
This is the board decision on who we hire. So why have to do it in a crowd?
Because this is where we can meet and not violate OMA.
Right. Well, what we did before was Kurt and I interviewed and then Kurt gave some recommendations.
And look what you got.
I wouldn't have a problem with you and Kurt interviewing at all. I wouldn't have an issue with that.
I would either.
Sarah?
I think it should come in front of all of us if we're governing by commission.
Why don't you interview with them?
Because then it's just me.
It's not you and Kurt.
No, but she ain't for that, she's for the whole board.
She wants,
So we can make a motion and vote on it, see where it goes.
Or have an early board meeting if that's what she,
I mean, I get out at 5:15, I can be here right at 5:30.
an hour before our
An hour before.
regular
the
board
next-
meeting?
Yeah, we can do that.
But that's gonna depend on how many interviews we have.
We barely had 3 before.
Well, and
I know, but it seems like I've got a lot of interest.
Pick the top two.
I would say we could, resumes are submitted, then we're gonna have to, if we're gonna, yeah, by that Friday, we
Okay.
can look
Okay,
through them.
then we've gotta get a hold of them, then we've gotta schedule an interview time.
True, I mean,
So,
I guess if they're interested in that.
So what are we gonna do? Make a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion to have a special meeting an hour before our next board meeting to interview potential candidates for the DPW jobs.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Elise, seconded by Sarah to have a special meeting an hour before our regular board meeting
in December.
in December. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Second part of that is volunteers.
Yeah,
The, insurance recommended that we not have volunteers driving our vehicles or using the leaf back. He was concerned about the safety of that. But that's just, but I did, he sent me a hold harmless form somewhere in my packet that we could have, if we chose to do that, we would have people fill out a hold harmless.
Okay, I believe I asked the insurance agent that during his presentation, and he said that was not necessary because all volunteers were covered.
That's what I thought it said too.
Exactly.
Well, I had just asked him if there was a hold harmless, and he sent me a sample of one that we could have people fill out.
Well, yeah, and we talked about it 2 months ago. I definitely talked about it. So I'm wondering where the gap is with that. And I'm more than happy to do a hold harmless and let people volunteer if they want to. I don't wanna do that all day, every day.
Well, I was gonna say, we need to get, if you have a list of volunteers, have you had calls?
I've got, I think,
Oh, yeah,
two people on my list.
Vic and his buddy volunteered, they said they'd work the whole township if they had to.
Okay, because we need to
Where
get,
did
I
you
think we
get this
need to
from?
get Sarah.
You know what Tony?
Yeah, I mean, we all appreciate what you've done, but yeah, I'll make a motion that we use that hold harmless form, which I'm gonna tell you, I find it's not worth the paper it's printed on. That's just my opinion. And get a hold of those people, see if they'll help us finish this up. That's my motion.
Second that motion.
Motion by Nancy to see if we got any volunteers that wanna fill the form out. Second by Alicia. Any more discussion?
Do they need any state, I don't know. I guess you don't have, I'm just concerned, it's physical, it's hard
Yes, it
work.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm just concerned if somebody gets on there and it's harder work than they expected it to be, and
Schedule for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
who wants to do the, line up the volunteers and keep them coming and make sure somebody's always here for Mitch?
I'm putting the bid in the tax roll. If I decline.
Well, I guess I could organize the volunteers. No, not really. It's a lot easier to just do it yourself.
Instead of paying for a special meeting,
Okay,
instead of paying everybody here for a special meeting,
we don't get paid for
We
special
don't get
meetings.
paid extra.
okay. Why don't you take and ask the people, okay? Wouldn't it be better, you've already got it in the budget for 3 people working at that department. Why the hell don't you take our money, hire 2 people, instead of relying on volunteers, and get the dang job done?
Okay,
And I'm
all in
sorry
favor of
you're
the
50
motion?
years old and you're tired. I'm 80 years old and I 4 times.
See this leg?
You wanna see my scars?
No, it's not scars, it's
Then
bruises
I'm
from
telling
the
okay.
you,
knee.
get the
okay.
job done. If you need to hire people, hire people.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Now we better decide, what we're gonna hire for part-time too, since we're doing the,
Well, we don't know
part-time before the winter.
well, it probably depends on when winter hits, that's gonna be the problem, you know? You might hire someone, they might not have, at least, if the lease section's all done, then they ain't really gonna be much more to
The posting
do.
would be for head of the DPW and a part-time DPW
Position.
worker.
Seasonal worker as needed.
There you go.
And have them not think seasonal is summer.
Okay.
Right. Well, and that brings up another thing, that, you know, this leaf service, this is not gonna be popular. It's an extra. The snow plowing of the sidewalks, I lived in Grand Rapids for a while, you know who's responsible for businesses sidewalks? The business!
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, these are extras that really take some expenditures.
And I'm,
Got that on that one. You just added it to the last. Okay. That moves us down to hazardous mitigation plan.
And that's from what, Gratiot County? No,
this is my comment.
this is not Comms.
Not that, I'm gonna hope, not not that we will have any disaster, but if we could, if we did, excuse me, I better start over again. It would, behoove us to have this staff.
I agree with that for sure.
So should we just pass this resolution tonight?
Eric Smith or Jerry McCoy would be happy to come to our meeting and talk about this and the importance, and then we would have a better idea. So I say we invite them.
And it needs to be done by December 31st, so next meeting.
That was a plan that Eric's worked on. We have to have that approved to get any, like FEMA money if we have a big emergency or something.
Right.
So we have to get that approved and get it sent in to get, I think it's, she said December, you said that?
This is December 31st, so you have a deadline to get it there by then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it has to be approved and sent in. Eric's worked on this for a year or so, getting everything done on it.
So if we have them come to our December meeting, we could pass that resolution.
Is that
That'd be
enough time?
quick enough, Chris?
I think so.
Okay, all right, thanks, Chris.
What is it? Hazardous chemical release or?
Okay, that, the lighting district.
Okay, so, I guess people are confused about the lighting district. Pat, thanks for that information, it looks like she left on when it was first started, but it sounds like it was first started back, because we had extra money. Basically, the lighting district, to put it on the tax roll, that's over $43,000 of a special assessment. I put nothing on the tax roll unless I get paperwork telling me to do so. And I had no paperwork telling me to do so. We know it was off for a while, we had some excess funds. So in 19 and 20, it was not on the roll, we put it back on. I asked that people get me some paperwork on, should this just be put on, and where does the information come from? I didn't really get an answer, so I called MTA, they gave me all sorts of information. This is either a public act or an MCL, which is a Michigan compiled law. I called the board meeting so we could get it on there, and we all agreed to put it on there. Going forward, we're gonna have to find out which it was, how it was created, and then that will answer all the questions going forward on any treasurer putting this on the tax roll. So that's where we are, and it is on the tax roll now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Moves us down to D, FOIA fee waiver.
So the FOIA requests that I'm getting are asking for a waiver of fees based on public interest. And I just wanted the board, our policy, I put that in our FOIA policy, indicates that the, what do I do with it? That the, no, the FOIA coordinator can waive the, or reduce the fee if it's in public interest, because it's considered as primarily benefiting the public. The township can identify specific records, so I just wanted to put that out there. See if the board had any specific records or what types of things they felt were acceptable to waive any fee, waiver reduced fee.
How long did it take you to do a FOIA request?
It just
On
depends, it just really depends on what it is and how difficult it is to find, depending on how far back you have to go.
Well, I think if we take a look at that public inspection of records policy and get that in, that is gonna take care of a bulk of things. And that's a number of hours where the door's open and people can come in and ask, they may not remove stuff, they may not have pens, they may not, there are guidelines that go around it, but it is their information to access.
But still, I have to go through that before they go through that to make sure there's nothing that has to be redacted right now.
Exactly, if there's confidential information, definitely has to be done, but there's
So I
not
can't
very
just-
much
I can't
confidential.
just give them a box and say,
There you
like
go.
a DDA. somebody wants information on the DDA, I just can't give them a DDA box and say, here, go through it, take, you can have your pencil, but you can have a pen, because I don't know what's in that box that might be confidential, so I need to go through those documents to make sure that there's no confidential information in there.
Right, but shouldn't we know what's confidential and what's not?
But I don't know what's in that box.
Okay, well,
I know what the difference between confidential and not confidential,
Right.
but I don't know what's in that specific box or folder that I.
She has not put it in there, I can see she would not know what's in
Right.
there.
okay, so like David's the DDA, David come through and make sure we don't have confidential information in the DDA box. And then we're good to go, cause this
But
should
that
be easily
takes
accessed.
time for me to do that.
Right, but that wouldn't even be your specific area, cause it's DDA information,
Well, if it's
right?
township hall,
I just, yeah.
then
So,
it's Patty.
Right, but there is not that much confidential information that we have. We have the people's information, we're not gonna give them other people's information,
But
social security,
we
and
don't,
lawsuits.
I don't know if, for example, the sewer box, I don't know if there's social security numbers in there. I didn't put that in there, I don't know, so I have to go through that and make sure there shouldn't be probably social security numbers in there, but I don't know that, and I can't risk that by just turning that over.
And I'm expecting that one would know that.
Back
Have
to
you
that
seen
policy,
the one
Sarah.
file room down here? It's, the entire wall is boxes of stuff with file folders in them.
But who knows what's in them?
Well, to me, that's a project, that's a start chipping away at it, and let's get it so they can be open. And I'm more than happy to help with anything like that.
Okay.
What do you want?
Well, I think, Pat, you want us to list what people can see, that's what you're.
No,
No,
I
what we charge.
well, if there's things that we feel are in the best, and it, from what Sarah's saying, everything should be free, waiver free.
No, it should be open to public inspection, there's not much information we have that should be confidential.
So you're saying it would lessen the
Everything.
FOIAs?
Yes, it would way lessen the FOIAs.
Well, I agree there.
But we were discussing a FOIA fee waiver, so,
Yeah.
and I know how that's led into that.
Okay.
Um,
That's fine. So everybody can ask for public record inspection and.
Well, there's gonna be a few
Unfortunately-
things that we're gonna have to update on that section of records, but,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we'll just deal with it that way. I agree.
And Pat, I think it's how much time you spend getting the FOIA together.
That's, I guess that's where she was going with
Yeah.
this to begin with. Is sometimes it may take her 20 minutes because it might be right here and it's something very simple. Other times it might take her much longer because you have to go through these big boxes to find that information. So, I think what we're talking about is if we have to go through this long process, you know, like I have to go through this 20 boxes to see if I could find the information, should we charge for that?
I said yes.
Now, if it's something more recent, yeah, maybe not, because it would be right here, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
It's
think
just
there should be
where
some,
you
yeah.
get your
Once you get
information.
into it, then you realize how deep you
Right.
have to dig.
So if I spend an hour on it, no, maybe I shouldn't be charged for it, because,
Right.
you know, I can do something in an hour, right? But I think if it's gonna take you longer than an hour to find that information, because I'm here and it's taking me here, then it's gonna take me, then yes, I think it should be, we should charge a fee for that. That's just my
I
opinion.
would think it should be your discretion, you know, you're the FOIA coordinator, you know
Yeah.
how long it's taking you.
Well, and do you like the FOIA policy the way it is and the guidelines you have set up as is?
I guess I don't know.
Well, because it's kinda at your discretion, and in the FOIA policy, there is like, here's what it could cost you, and you are invoicing people currently, right?
A lot of it's been free.
Pardon?
A lot of it's been free.
Right, but some of it definitely hasn't that I have heard about, so like, if some people are getting charged and some people aren't, that seems weird
Well, it
too.
depends on how much time it takes to produce those documents, if they're being charged or not, or how much copying has to be done.
Right.
Is also involved, and that's what the itemized, this cost itemization form is for.
Pat, you want a motion?
Yeah, she does.
For what? I don't even know.
Well, I would make a motion because you are the floor coordinator that you can tell how long something's gonna take you once you start getting into it, deeper into the request, and that it's your discretion. on
Whether to
being
charge or
charged.
not.
You can second that.
I'll second that.
Motion by Nancy, leave it up to Patty, what she charges. Seconded by Elish. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
One opposed, 4 yeas. Digital budget to website.
No, there is not paperwork. I sent an email a number of months ago requesting the budget. It was right after our budget meeting that we have the prior year and the current year budget that we had just passed in digital form so we can post them on our website. And it did not get answered by anyone, so I'm bringing it up now.
Digital form as in,
Email.
Attachment, online,
like this
postable.
thing, just like this in PDF.
Yes,
You want
last year's budget and the budget that we passed as a board just a little bit ago. June, there we go.
Okay, that moves us down to budget adjustment.
So if you look at your revenue and expenditure report, it's, obviously the drains at large were way over on that. We're $61,000 over on that because we made that $53,000 payment. We have another one that's due on March 1st. So that's on page 2. So I'm recommending, I mean, this is just to be my, that we either do $14,701.31 or do $115,000 added to that line item. Number 2 is the insurance. The insurance was a little bit more this time. We had budgeted $33,500 and it ended up being $35,000, so we're $1,800 over. But we just got $2,800 back, so really it's not.
So will that take care of itself, don't you think, Pat?
I don't think so, because it's not.
Wait a minute, you can't go in, yeah, it's on the same fund.
Right.
Yeah, that won't work.
So we need to add to that one, and then the equipment was the air conditioner for the treasurer's office with the server in there, that's $348. The clothing allowance, because we give that in August, and we gave that to 3 instead of just the 1 person. So that's the other one. Miscellaneous under cemetery on page 5. Miscellaneous is $300 over the line item because someone sold back the 2 cemetery plots. So that's where the $300, and then on 207, which is the police line item, was miscellaneous, and that was the marine donation we did for $500. So I guess I would make a motion to adjust the line items of the budget as presented.
I will second that, Pat.
Motion by Pat, seconded by Nancy, to make the adjustments on these line items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Okay, Okay, that moves us down to G, Adam Turner's Fund.
Mike.
Can I speak on that, Mike?
Yeah. Many of you here knew Adam Turner. He was a firefighter within our area. Young lad, very involved in the fire service. He was involved with a organization called the Honor Guard, Montgomery County Firefighters Honor Guard. What they did is they would go around, and if there was a funeral of a firefighter, they actually were dressed in their blues, dress uniforms. They would actually escort the casket. Many times they would do a lot more than that. We've received a large amount of funds in honor of Adam Turner, and I'm proposing to the Township Board that we take X amount of those. The Honor Guard is looking to purchase a trailer, put all their equipment in. They even have bagpipers now. Uniforms, they do a lot right now. And I'd like to make, get with the board's approval that we could allocate some of those funds. Now, we have some requirements that we know we have to meet, but we would like to do that in honor of Adam Turner, one of our fallen firefighters. So the dollar amount is $5,600. It's a 6x12 enclosed trailer that they can put all their equipment in it, and we will have them make sure on the outside of it is shown that donation of the trailer. Can't use the word donation, but the trailer was provided by the Crystal Township Fire Department in memory of Adam Turner. So that's what we're looking to do with this. I know there's more money in there than just the amount that they're requesting, but I think we owe it to one of our own fallen people here, folks, and he dedicated his life to this, so.
What do Larry and Cindy think? Have you talked to them about it all?
I have not yet, but I'm gonna guarantee you they're gonna be all for it.
Okay.
As long as we meet the qualifications
Yep.
that we have to for.
I'm sure many of you have seen, they've marched in the 4th of July parade as well. They've done that many times already for us, so. We've had some other, not only when Adam passed away, but also Bob Brundage, when he passed away, he was involved. The Honor Guard was involved at that point in time, so. They're getting requests to go all over Michigan to provide services to other departments and other counties as well, so. It's kind of important. They're kind of struggling to try to keep everything organized and keep everything in a single location. There's a lot that they do that we feel is very important to the services that we provide as well, so.
I'll make a motion that we do the donation.
Okay, it is not a donation. It is not a donation.
Contract for the
We're going
color
to have a
guard
contract.
services at our parade.
There's,
And in exchange,
don't limit it to that, please,
No,
because there's
there
gonna
will
be
be
other
several
things that are gonna be involved in this, in the verbiage for this, so.
right. We'll put the verbiage together. Get a contract with them.
So put a contract together with, the motion should be that we put a contract together with Honor Guard in the amount of $5,600.
Correct.
That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah. To use $5,600 for the Honor Guard. I know I didn't make most of it, but all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. That about took care of it, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We'll get
truck,
the sewer
yeah.
truck.
Time of the sewer department is time to get rid of their one truck. And, they're kind of scared. We've been doing pretty good on them. We've been making pretty good money on them, but we've been buying them for in the 30,000s. Well, they took away our, everybody's municipality discount.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, so it's costing big bucks now. This last one we got for them out there was 56,000. This one at 22 that's goes up for sale. We've got 36,070 into it. But Kevin's afraid, it's been worth doing it because we ain't losing money and we don't have no, every 2 years we've been rolling, but the same way we did been doing with our township. But he's thinking he don't really need 2 full-size pickups. He'd like to go to a smaller one, cause he does a lot of, during the summer, we gotta run samples to Grand Rapids, water samples from the sewer. So he's priced out a smaller one, so.
Maverick.
A Maverick Super Crew Cab. It would have the hitch and everything on it where they could pull the generator around if they had to. Plus, he figures it'll probably save him a couple grand a year in gas. But he wanted to know what our opinion, the cost of that's gonna be. Yeah, 32,717. He thinks he'd be better off going that route than taking the gamble of buying another $56,000 one and taking our chance on losing. Even if we lost a couple thousand, or you can't drive a pickup for $2,000 a year, but we've been doing good making it, but he's afraid we might take a bigger hit than that.
So you've got 2 now, he's gonna sell one?
Yeah, the 22 comes up for sale. But the problem is it's gotta be ordered. You don't really know with him being on, he's gotta get it ordered here this month. Yeah. The last time, which got the township in trouble, we ordered them this time of the year, and it was almost the next year before we even got it. But I think this smaller one, the way you talked, it might not be, I don't know if it ain't as popular as the big ones, or.
I'd make a motion that we support purchasing the Maverick for the sewer department.
I'll second that.
Motion by Patty, second by Nancy to have him order the 24 Maverick Super Crew Cab for $32,717. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Opposed, aye.
Opposed, I mean, one opposed. Okay, public comment. Barb?
I'd like to continue my thought. We're talking about FOIA information, I'm glad you were discussing that today. However, I go back to, our records must be very disorganized if you can't reach in and pull out a file that talks, because I FOIA'd before about the contract for Head Start. I ended up spending $300 for that FOIA. And I wanted to find out how much we paid to increase the facility for that particular area. It was $30,000. I FOIA'd ACAP, and they're trying to find out if they actually paid us back for the $30,000 to renovate the building. So that's kind of a curious moment, because that has nothing to do with the person, and which is your concern, Patty, and I understand your concern, but when you're pulling out budget information, that has nothing to do with confidentiality. Confidentiality would have to do with employees, their work record, their ability to do work, and if they've had any records, that's confidential information. Anything that has to do with money in Township is not confidential. So I go back to the fact we are really very disorganized here. I have a master's in library science. I was considered one of the last 2 people to be employed, or actually, last 2 people to be interviewed to be the state of Michigan librarian. So I know how to organize stuff. I can do it really quickly, and I'm volunteering to help Sarah. Just tell me when, and I can help you. I also worked at the Library of Congress. And Library of Congress, people don't walk in and say, I want to check out that book. They say, I want this book, and the librarian gets it for you. But to take 2 weeks plus additional days to find out a contract, that should be in a folder that says contracts. There you go, okay. So I'm gonna defer the rest of my time to my neighbor right here.
Well, yeah, FOIA is an issue that I'm glad that everybody's addressing tonight. I've made 3 FOIA requests in July and August, and a pattern became really evident. All the documents I FOIA'd were current documents and should have been easily accessible. These are, all of these documents were open to the public. They were not asking for any personal information. These are public documents. I requested 1, a copy of policies and procedures. I got a request for delay for an additional 10 days because the minutes, township minutes, had to be researched for policies and procedures. That's what was listed on my request. Why these weren't all in a book, I don't know. Second request, I asked for DPW timesheets and anything specific relating to work designated for the DPWs. Once again, gather records requested. Anything relating to DPWs makes sense to me that it would be in a folder. I did a third request to ask for more later timesheets, a copy of a lease, and a copy of the park grant, and a BSNA printout. And when I submitted that request, I clarified, are the timesheets submitted on a bi-weekly basis prior to the paychecks? Yes, was the response. So, it was broken down. The third request, I had 2 reasons for delay. One was to gather all the documents requested, and the second was the response for DPW timesheets. And it says the township needs to collect the requested public records from numerous field offices, facilities, and other establishments that are located apart from the township office. That response doesn't make any sense. I was told that they were on site. It's very clear that there's an issue with the ability to have these records organized. The other item I'd like to address is, after listening to last month's meeting about the sewer land rental issues, reviewing the sewer 23-24 budget and the sewer contracts, I'm a bit more concerned now than I was before. The sewer budget for 23-24 shows sewer rental income received for years 21 and 22. It was only $717.50 for both of those years, which is the exact amount that was stated on Martin's lease agreement for his rental. There was no additional income reported according to the BSNA report. So this is either a bad clerical posting error, or there's no apparent payment from McCracken Farms. Additionally, the budget shows expected revenue for 23-24 at $2,000. If that figure is correct, again, clerical error possible, then there would be a shortfall of $642 of what they should have expected to receive for both McCracken Farms and Martin's land combined. Kurt stated he initially paid $14.55 per acre, a total of $800 per year, and it had increased at some point over time. Since no documentation of prior leases exists, there's no way of knowing exactly when or how much his rates increased until the 2020 lease agreement was put in place. The 2020 lease amount brings Kurt's costs up to $35 per acre, the same as Mr. Martin had been paying since 2014. Based on that, for the prior 6 years prior to 2020, Kurt was paying less per acre for the same type of land. And during that same thing, where they suggested contacting the attorney to clarify who owns the sewer property. And initially, both Kurt and Alicia voted against that contact. Why would you not want to know if what has occurred with a lease was legal or not? The last item I'd like to address is when last month it was brought up that we had restrictions on our deed for this property. And this property here, deed restrictions. Patty's response to that was a second deed lifts those restrictions. She then stated that Mr. Swanson came in when he was the interim supervisor and handed the new deed to me and said congratulations. I have a copy of that new deed. It states in part, whereas the township has requested that the district terminate the reverter clause and transfer the district's interest in the property to the township. I was on the board at that time. Taking that action was never discussed, never brought up at the board, and never approved by a board decision. So, I'd really like to know who felt they had the authority and took the initiative to contact Carson City School District to request that change. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Patty, do you still need audience members' names for your records, or you?
No, I know you have that.
Okay, I just wanted to point out that the restatement of the FOIA motion, the chair stated that the clerk may choose, I'm not gonna say it right myself, but can charge whatever she sees fit.
Her discretion.
At her discretion, perhaps maybe a little flippant, from what the original proposal of the motion was, because you do still have to follow all the FOIA requirements on how you can charge. So she could only charge based on actual hourly amounts, that she would incur based on her time. So that may have been a little misstatement of the thing, and maybe the minutes will show that that's stated a little better. So, I just wanted to clear that up, that it is clearly spelled out in FOIA laws, they just charge whatever.
Exactly.
Because, I don't know if all the audience knows that, but there is some limits.
Chris?
Yeah, I got, three things. One is a commissioner. I forgot when I was here before that we did sign a resolution this month opposing any kind of state takeover of the, local authority for the wind and solar stuff. We wanna keep all the control of that local. So we did sign a resolution opposing that. Many counties and townships in the cities or townships have done that already. And we joined in with that. Then as a citizen, this employee deal, I was an advocate when I was a supervisor here to have 2 full-time employees. Reason being, I think we do a lot of things that OSHA would not even allow one person to do by themselves. I think anytime you climb a step ladder over 3 feet off the ground, you're supposed to have another person with you. Anytime you're on a chainsaw by yourself, you're not supposed to by yourself, you're supposed to have another person with you. I think there's a lot of things we do that actually mandate we should have 2 people on the job. And I realize in the wintertime, they're probably gonna be driving around drinking coffee a little bit extra, when there's not a lot of grass and mowing stuff, but they've got a lot of stuff they can be doing in the wintertime, cleaning equipment, maintenance and all that stuff. I still think we ought to have 2 full-time employees. The other thing, I heard in the public comment to start with about, the good old boys club and stuff. Remember, everybody, all you gotta do is fill out an application to run. I don't think the treasurer, the clerk, or the supervisor's been opposed the last 2 elections. The trustees have, but the core of the group has never been opposed. Since I was a supervisor, we've never had anybody, that started in 2012, we've never had anybody run against a supervisor here. So, if anybody wants to change, that's how you gotta do it.
Amen.
Roger?
Let's go home.
Mike?
One of the things I guess I'd like to throw to the board is, what is your hiring process? Do we have a hiring process in place? No. As a fire department, we have a hiring process in place.
Would you share that with us?
Absolutely, and what it'll do is it'll lessen your burden in your process to try to find the right candidates. Because you filter through them, you don't bring them all in for an interview. You as a board filter through your candidates first. And then you have to qualify them with, you gotta pass a driving background check. There's some things you gotta do. You can get rid of a lot of the ones that you don't want to. Hopefully you have enough candidates to be able to do that. That's the biggest concern. I know we've had issues with that before. Also as a taxpayer, and I know we've got a lot of issues with the leaf pickup and the DPW and this and that. I firmly believe if we adjusted the rates properly, we wouldn't be in this position. Roger would still be here. So just conversation, and we need to be competitive with what we've got with other areas around too. But Roger did a great job in this community, and he took a lot of pride in it. that comes with a cost, and when you lose that, you feel it, and that's kind of what we've done now, so. that's my
Anybody else?
I just have one more thing to say about that whole situation. I mean, I was a teacher and I was on a lot of interview committees. And basically, you don't have to interview somebody in front of 50 people. What you need to do is, well, what we did is we had some staff, not just teachers, we had special ed teachers. What you could do is simply have the board and maybe a couple of citizens to be on the interview committee, come up with a list of really good questions that you would like them to answer, and then each one of you ask a different question, and then you take notes, and then you put the top candidate on the top, and the rest of them go on the bottom. It's not difficult. So
It's not difficult either. When we advertised for a month of the last time, we got 2 applications. And before we even hired anybody, one dropped out, so we only left us one guy.
Well, that's true, but that's when you go and you give them a competitive salary, and then you will have more applications.
Just keep in mind that if more than the quorum of the board meets, it's an open meeting. So they can't have more than 2 of those folks together in a meeting to do anything, or it becomes an open meeting.
Right, gotcha.
We take our officers, we review all the candidates,
Okay.
we email.
I have a question.
But I was trying to get them in the same room, and we can't do that because of the open meeting.
We've been running it in the daily news.
Is there any way you could post, something like that at the post office or at some of the local businesses? So that, because daily news, I don't even have a subscription to it anymore.
Computer.
So,
We put on our website.
You've been missing out on all this stuff.
I know. We would put it on the website, and, you know, we would put it on our website to advertise, you know, too. It's just, I don't think the word gets out that there's openings.
Put it on Bristol Comes Together, put it on Marquee, you know, anything.
I think there needs to be a local effort here in the township, posted here in the village.
Roger.
What kind of money you're talking in insurance benefits along with it?
No benefits, no insurance.
I might as well stay home. That's what they're gonna tell you.
That's exactly right. It is.
Our part-timers was getting 18 an hour and our full-time was getting 20. Oh, you should have heard the people complain when we gave them that kind of money. They all thought, well, you're
If you ain't
overpaying.
got insurance and benefits, that ain't nothing.
No, it isn't.
You got around 40 now.
Anybody else got comments? Sherry?
I think it might be a good idea for the township to, and really as far as financially, financial responsibility, is really take an assessment to see what your needs are for the DPWs. For example, if you hire someone who has absolutely no other skills other than driving a tractor, and it's in the winter, all they're gonna do is they're gonna get paid 40 hours a week for plowing snow if it snows. So really, I think it really is essential that you determine what your needs are, and perhaps, you know what, you might be able to go the entire winter without having a DPW if you can contract a snowplow person. Hire somebody on a temp service for cleaning. If that's the only jobs that they're able to perform, I don't feel it's a good use of my township funds to pay somebody for 40 hours a week when there's nothing to do. So I would just really recommend that you, before you even do that, sit down and look at your needs and see what they are. See if 40 hours a week at $20+ an hour is worth it. I mean, can we get that much work out of an individual during the winter?
Well, we've been pretty lucky so far with who we've had hired in the winter. If there ain't enough work, a lot of them will go home.
Mike did a great job.
And he'd go home days when there wasn't nothing to do too.
Well, and that's wonderful.
Right, that's what I said, we've been lucky with that so far.
Right, but are
You ain't gonna find many people.
Well, there you go, and that's why it's really essential to see what your needs are and how they might be filled.
Anybody else?
It's like mowers. Show up.
Motion to dismiss. Nobody somebody has put up their hand.
I'm gonna second it.
Motion by Nancy is adjourned, second by Alicia.
Mason.
9 o'clock. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thanks for coming, it's so good to see you patient.
Okay. Either way, I just wanted to say.